Well, haven't done a video in quite a while. It's May 1st today, and we're getting to do some videos. Going to start again. Just been doing other things and family stuff and whatever, and now we're getting back into building. And I'm in the new workshop today. We're not completely moved in, but behind me here you see the room here. That's going to be the pattern shop. And I got a couple of more tools to set up in there, and then I can start working on patterns. It's not very big, but with live steam patterns, they're not usually that big. So I wanted to keep the sawdust separate of the metal machinery because it just never seems to mix well. But above that, we have a 25 by 20 storage area, and I have a 14-foot ceiling here. I don't know if you can see it in the picture there, but that's the crane. I have an I-beam runs across the middle. So we'll give you a tour another time. But today, what I'm doing is going to build some passenger cars. Now, I've built quite a number of railroad supply kits. I don't know, upwards of 30 or 40. I don't remember. I own 25 myself, so. And then some other people asked me to build them, and I can lay claim, I think, to having the first passenger car, railroad supply style passenger car on the East Coast. I still have the car. You've seen it in some of my videos, the green Pullman green car, which is, by the way, painted with scale coat, and it's the original paint. 35 years it's been on there. That'll be painted probably Tuscan red and Pensy-ized. So what I'm building now is I happen to have a bunch of ends together and everything. Generally speaking, with the railroad supply style cars, the sides came, in the kit. They were all, the holes were cut for the windows and so on. So that's been a problem. You say, take it to some CNC shop and they can punch them out, and or maybe I could have bought them already from Railroad Supply now in from Mike McClure, already done. But I always wanted to have the option to be able to cut my own sides and cut my own window pattern out wherever way I wanted the window pattern to be, instead of just being captivated to whatever they had available. And I've always tried to devise a method in order to do that. And what I've come up with is a pretty good method using a router. I don't know if you can see the router here. This is a DeWalt, really good router. And I got a little vacuum there. By the way, that vacuum comes from the Home Depot. It's a $20 item, and it works off a 5-gallon can, which is really great for this type of work. And I made up this fixture here. It's nice and solid. I bought these from Joseph Fazio and Son down in South Jersey. This aluminum. It's an 1/8-inch aluminum by 12. It's an oddball size, 12.5. Now, if I were to build cars, I'd make them 12 inches because then when you take a 4 by 12 sheet, you cut it 4 times, you get 4 sides. I had to pay extra because of the 1/2-inch difference. Okay, because then you lose, one sheet, one part, one side. So I got 4 sides. I should have probably bought 6 because I had enough parts to build 6 cars, but I don't want to build 4 now because I only have 2 pair of trucks. But so let me just go over this with you, how I'm going to do it, and then we're going to show you how I cut it, and I'm going to show you, actually cutting it, and it works out pretty good. Works out pretty good. No CNC required. You got C and nut, CNC. Okay. You don't need all that stuff. That'd be nice, have it all cut and drilled and this and that. I'm also going to show you how I drill them. Drill them all in the drill press. It's much easier than trying to drill them by hand. I'm going to have a strip to drill through. Hold on by clecos and just go down the line and drill them. And just put them together. Just put them together. And it's not that bad. And then you build them and paint them and whatever you got to do. And then you have a nice car to ride in. Now, I put a hole here in the middle of this fixture so that the router, will have clearance, the router bit. And I just decided, because this is so long, I'm going to put another hole down that end and one down that end, so when I shift this thing back and forth, I don't have to have it hanging off one end or the other to try to prop it up and so on. I just put another hole over there and work on that end or this end. But this was a sample, and this is what it's going to look like. The window holes are 4 inches, 4 by 4. Okay, and this was just the end piece that I cut off. These are 110 inches long, by the way, so 120 I cut off a 10-inch piece. I made 2 templates made out of masonite. Now, they'll probably work hard for doing all these sides, but if this works out originally, you know, I'm a guy who works with metal. I'll make them out of aluminum probably, but for right now, the masonite works good. I coated it with some clear polyurethane to protect it. But this one here is for cutting the holes out. Now I pre-cut them out. I drilled 2 holes with a 5/16 holes with a drill, and then I used a saber saw and just cut away most of the material. I don't really trust the fact that the cutter could plunge, and that's a special cutter, by the way, I'll get into later, could plunge in there and then cut that whole thing. I just don't want to sacrifice the cutters, like $35 for the cutter, carbide, and I don't want to destroy it. I could probably put some lubricant or something on there, but it's just as easy just to cut them out, bing, boom, takes me 2 minutes to cut out the hole, and then just go around with the router. And then this is the router template that goes on top of here, and the router follows. There's a bushing, and that follows the template, and you just run it around real slow, and it cuts it out. Real simple. Now, yeah, I could have put this on a mill. I could have made a fixture to go in a mill and run it back and forth and all that stuff. I could have done that, but I always wanted to try this method. And it seems to be working out so far. I'm not completely done. But when I get all these holes, I have a lot of holes. There's 28 holes here. Not 14, honestly. So we got 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 holes on this side and 15 on the other side. And so that's 30, 60 holes altogether with the 2 sides. I take my time and cut them, cut a couple at a time, and come back and work here, do something else. And I'm in no hurry. I'm saving a lot of money doing it this way, to be honest with you. So we'll see how it works out. I'm gonna get this ready. First thing I'm going to do is drill 2 holes opposite corners, and I might even drill later on. I'll try 4 holes, but just that much more to do. And then just go in there with the place to put the saw blade in and cut around, rough cut around my layout line. And then from there we're going to use the router. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, that's the 4 holes. I don't know if you'll be able to see that in my way, but anyway, this is a skill saw. It's got a laser thing on it. I don't know what the heck that does. Now, so okay, a little bit. Like I said, this is a DeWalt router. It's a good router. You know, you can use a cheaper one, I guess. But what I have here is a, it's called a, let's bring closer, I guess that. It's a bushing, and these are universal size thread, and then a collar that goes on there that locks it to the base here. Now, I have 2 different ones. This OD of this little boss on here is 3/8 with a 1/4 inch hole, which is the size of the cutter to pass through that. and then this one is 5/16. So what I'm going to do is use the bigger one first, and I'm going to go around following the template, which takes off a little bit, change the bushing to the smaller one, and then that'll be the finish. And I don't want to take it in 2 cuts. I'm afraid that I'll burn the cutter up and take a little bit longer, but be worth it. So I put this in. It just screws in there. A little bit of a pain in the neck to get it in, but especially with my bad fingers. But anyway, here we go. Here we go. There you go. Now I gotta make up a little. See what it looks like. Clamps off. Beautiful. Okay, let's go around there. The learning process. Done. Learn as you go along. I had all that fancy vacuum stuff in here. And the problem with that is there's no, because there's a hole here, there's no suction. So it isn't sucking the chips up, it's just throwing them down on the floor. So I decided, the heck, we're going to go back to the old method, stick a garbage can underneath here. And that's what I've done. So now it just eliminates one more problem, one more thing. Go to cut another hole now. This is the first bit. This is the rough cut. I got it on the slowest speed there is. Jumps a little bit in the corners. That's it. Now you just change it. As a matter of fact, without that extra shroud on there for the vacuum, it makes it easier to change these collars now. Nothing to it now. So I put this is the 3/8 collar. Okay. Took me from the time I started we used to have a De La Valle time study. Time study starts from the time you put the piece in the machine, do the whole process, till you put the next piece in the machine. That's where it's, getting ready to put the next piece. That's the total time. So on this one here, getting it set up to this point where I have a mark here for the hole that's underneath here, to cutting the hole and moving the one down to this one to start the next one. 6 minutes. Big deal. 6 minutes. So just taking my time. Let's say 10 minutes. So, you know, a couple of hours. You get it done. It's no big deal. It's part of the fun. You want to go take it to some CNC shop.
All right.
And this is part of the fun.
Got the 15 windows done. Wasn't bad at all. I mean, it took a little time. It took me about 3 hours off and on. I wasn't pushing. I stopped to get something to eat and went on a computer and whatnot. And now it's all completed. I'm going to degrease this side with lacquer thinner, get all this grease off and oil and everything, get it clean good. And I have to deburr these. I got to bring one of those red handle deburr things and run it around each side. And that's I'm not going to worry about the corners. They're really not that big. Looks pretty good to me, so why not just leave it the way it is. And you can make any pattern you want, you know, just lay it out whatever way you want and make smaller windows, bigger windows. Some of them had little small windows, whatever. You can make them whatever way you want. And I found it to be pretty easy, not a big deal. So move on to the next case.